All right. Good morning, Commonplace Church, and maybe anyone from Mount Olive Community Bible Church, if you're watching this as well. As you can tell, we are currently not gathering together for our Super Sunday service as we had hoped and had planned. That shift came due to a change in the conditions of the weather, and so because those things tend to be out of our control and out of our abilities at times to I just wanted to share a little bit of an update and hopefully just a little bit of an encouragement. The update really is we do desire to join together for a combined service at some point soon. We're not sure when that's going to be. We hope that it's sooner than later, as we desire these church families to just have time together. I think it's a valuable thing, not just for the families in general, but for the community around, to see that the churches come together and the churches unified under Jesus, whether they're in this location or that location, they come together because of the gospel. But my thoughts, just wanting to share a little bit, is in regards to the idea of just conditions, right? As we are in this moment where, due to this condition, right, which is the weather, we are unable to do this, which is meeting together as a church family. And what I've come to recognize through the idea of these conditions is that there's going to be times where we are going to have to adjust or just recognize the reality of different conditions. Take for example, um, right now, this is not my house. I'm not at home. My family was there was gifted from a family member, just a generous gift of a time away to go to Vermont this weekend. And so on Thursday, and of course be back for the Sunday service, but on Thursday, we left a little earlier than expected, which was great. And so as I'm driving, I start to feel just not like myself, in regards to, I started just feeling a little bit like sweaty and then clammy, and then all of a sudden I was like, looked over at my wife and said, I think you might need to drive, I don't feel good. And so that was Thursday, and since that day and even right now, I've had the flu. And what that means is that I am in no condition to go tackle any sort of mountain, on skis, snowboard, on anything. In fact, the condition I've been in has just been sitting around trying to rest, taking some NyQuil, DayQuil, whatever I could, Tylenol, anything to help with this terrible sickness. I'll just be honest, it's been a little bit disappointing to have to sit around and, not be able to enjoy the time we had away. And yet, I think in these moments, God does a couple things. One, he calls us to, to rest. So I've been able to rest, and I'm just grateful for that. But in the same sense, the reality is sometimes we're going to be hit with different conditions, right? Where the conditions aren't going to be the way that we expected them to be. And I think even this Sunday, the condition of the weather. Having an effect on what we were hoping to see happen, which was these churches come together. And so we have a couple options in those moments where we can um, find ourselves maybe deflated and discouraged. And I don't think that's wrong. I think we can at times feel disappointed. I think that's a great emotion that the Lord has given us. And yet, I think the challenge when we get to that point, though, is if we get stuck in that, where I think that's a challenge against what we have as an active pursuit and an active faith. And so those moments are a couple ways to react in that way. But I think the other way that we can react, and I actually love this. How this timing ties into kind of where we're going as a church family. In the next season, we are going to be studying through the book of Acts, and the Acts of the Apostles. And it just got me thinking of all the different conditions that Paul found himself in. Right? If you start, and we'll study through all this, but if you look, he was found himself in a condition of being shipwrecked. He found himself in the condition of being jailed. He found himself in the condition of being bitten by snakes. He found himself in condition of being in riots. Like, this guy found himself in a lot of different conditions that were definitely not ideal and definitely beyond what was expected in regards to maybe how he thought things would play out, or maybe we thought that God was going to work in that way or this way. And I think it just reminds us that when we're met with conditions that are outside of our ability, um, I think we can take those moments and we can actually be conditioned by them, be conditioned to just turn closer to the Lord and turn just to the reality of that. We can actually be renewed and revitalized through the conditioning and through our conditions that we endure and we experience. And I think that's the big takeaway is just enduring these conditions and recognizing that the gospel mission continues to go forward. I had a silly analogy, but this morning, being sick and not really just knowing what's totally going on, maybe some of you guys have used this product a lot, but I don't typically use what's called conditioner. I don't know, but it was the only thing that I found. Maybe there's other things, but I couldn't see. So anyway, but I was looking at the conditioner bottle, and it had this great kind of line. It says renewal, daily renewal, and I just thought about that. It's like I think sometimes the conditions we find ourselves in, whether they're what we expected or what they're not, I don't think that those are not that God isn't able to use those to renew us and renew us to draw near to Him ultimately. Just the thought that we are going to be met with different changes and different conditions throughout our journey of just carrying out the gospel of just being these ambassadors of seeing the Great Commission go forward, and the reality is that when it comes to this idea of condition, right? Ultimately, that's the gospel that God decided He was going to change the condition of our heart, that God was going to change the condition of our relationship, and that's what we get to carry out this beauty of being on mission, these disciples to go forward and to carry out the joy of being of seeing conditions, right, change in the condition of the life, the eternal condition of the life of those who we love and who are far from the Lord at this moment. So I just wanted to read a verse real quick, and I had it, but now it's gone because just the illness is definitely coming after me. But I just want to talk about Paul in Philippians and how he has this desire. His condition, right, is challenging this moment, but his condition is that he wants to be with Christ, right? Because what happens when we're found in Him, right? One day we'll be like Him, and we will be in the joy of just his righteousness and His glory, and the things like having to cancel a church service will be no more, right? The things that maybe frustrate us, like not like getting sick on our vacations, will be no more, right? But he also knows that there's still work to be done here. And so Philippians 1, he puts it this way. I love this. He says, for to me, to live in Christ is to die as gain. But if I live on in the flesh, this will make fruit from my labor. Yet what shall I choose? I cannot tell. For I'm hard pressed between the two, having desire to depart and be with Christ, right? I think we all have those moments, especially when we're met with sin struggles and just areas where, like, Lord, would you please just take this? I'm so frustrated by this continual act or action, and Lord, would you help me, right? So that desire, and yet he says, a desire to depart to be with Christ, which is far better, which is true, right? Nevertheless, to remain in the flesh is more needful for you. So, and it says, and then being confident of this, I know that I shall remain and continue with you all of your progress and your joy of your faith, that your rejoicing for me may be more abundant in Jesus Christ by my coming to you again. It says, only let your conduct be worthy of the gospel of Christ. So whether I come and see you or I'm absent, I may hear of your affairs, that you stand fast in one spirit, one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. And so I love the way that he closes there in this unity of standing firm together, right? And so I think ultimately, yes, we're going to be met with various conditions, but I think one of the greatest conditions we can find ourselves in is unity. Unity of mind, unity of spirit, unity of heart, and that's all through the gospel. So if I could encourage us today in any way, and hopefully I can. But what might the conditions that you find yourself in right now? What might they be doing to renew, to maybe even draw you nearer to the Lord, to maybe just rest that in spite and in light of things maybe not working out the way we desire, that God is still sovereign and in control of all these things. And so, and my prayer is also that we would take in consideration the condition, the eternal condition of those who are around us, who are far from the Lord, and we would find ways to just use even the current conditions, like the weather, to, I don't know, maybe go out and just be a good neighbor, shovel someone's driveway. I don't know, find opportunities to connect and share your faith, and just offer the hope of the gospel, right? In a what could be a bleak moment, the gospel truly gives us hope. So that's my encouragement to us. I also just ask that we join together and continue to pray as we move forward towards our move towards MOBC, towards the facility where we can have a little bit more control of whether or not we can have services or things like that. So that's an encouragement as we get closer to that phase and that step. Would you just be praying for unity as we share space together? You know, we have some the roommates come together. Sometimes there's different ways of living, right? And it takes a little bit of an adjustment and takes a lot of grace. And so, would you join me in just praying ultimately for gracious hearts for all of us, for us, for all those at MOBC, gracious hearts, Christ-like hearts. Would you join me in just lifting up the next steps, the all of the opportunities? Join me in lifting up the potential fruit of this area of Mount Olive, where people are just, it just seems there's such a ripe harvest. Would you join together in that? And would you just even pray for me personally that I would feel better? Because and anyone else who's sick right now, I know there's a lot of sickness going out. Why don't we also pray for one another in this moment? Because there's a yeah, we're all kind of feel. I think a lot of us are feeling. I don't want to predict and say all of us, but a lot of us are feeling a little bit not well. And so we just pray for physical healing, spiritual connection, physical healing. Would you pray for God's provisions? He's provided for us in so many ways, and I believe He's going to continue to. But just financial provisions for us. I just was reminded again of the provision of all the equipment and all the gear that our friends at Connect Church are going to be donating to our church. Tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. It's just mind blowing. So I think of those provisions. I think of the provisions of this church to send our youth ministry on a retreat at no cost to these students. Like, there's just evidence of God's hand of provision upon us as a church. And so, would you just continue to pray for those, just God to be gracious and kind and merciful, and just provide the needs that we have. Um, Thank you guys for putting up with even my voice that probably sounds brutal. Sorry, that's even worse. So, love you all and look forward to seeing you the following Sunday. And we'll keep you guys updated on any sort of potentials. If we're going to try to get another service in with Mount Olive Bible, we'll keep you updated on all that. So, hope you guys have a nice Sunday. Gather with people tonight if you can, if there's Super Bowl. Find some people you can even have a gospel conversation with, right? If people are disappointed once again because the Chiefs may end up winning, right? Let them know there's great hope and victory in Jesus. Okay. All right. Love you guys. Take care.